wow. We've officially made it to episode 5 of season 2, the finale of season 2, called The Pop. Wow, I can't believe it. Can't believe it. We're going on to season 3. It's just spectacular to me that we've made it so far. So here's my review of the episode. So it started off with Becky Lynch talking about that she had to lie to basically everyone she and Seth know about, that he didn't really tear anything. That he didn't actually break his knee open. He didn't actually tear his knee open or something in his knee, right? And she hated it. His dad was texting her. Everyone was texting her. His friends were texting her like, "Is he okay? Is he okay? Is he okay?" And even their managers like, "Is she okay? Is he okay? Is he okay?" And Becky's like, "Yeah." And Becky's like, "I can lie to the fans, but I can't lie to people I actually care about." And Becky's like, "I had to say, he'll be fine. And, I mean, I guess it might have been tough for Becky that she, hated lying. She can't lie to, the people she cares about. And, Seth here is like, yeah, she didn't like that. She don't like to lie. Yeah. And then you cut to this thing where, we see Becky is talking to Triple H, and they're whispering because they can't let anyone else know about it. And he's like, about Seth. And now I gotta effing lie to people. And she's like, he's like, he's not effing responding to anybody, so everyone is effing texting me. And Seth is like, it was supposed to go perfectly planned. Everyone's supposed to keep their mouth shut. I had to pretend I have a fake boo-boo. Everyone's playing their part. Except my daughter. Seth and Becky's daughter was not playing along with this fake boo-boo angle. She told her, summer camp counselor, Miss Joy, I think Seth said her name was, that, I told Miss Joy, I told Miss Joy that you have a fake boo-boo. Bro, Seth, low-key, you should have just lied to your daughter and said, this is a real injury, but it should be good by, the beginning of August. You should have just lied, bro. It would have been easier, because then you would have your daughter telling people. But, thankfully, she just told her summer camp counselor for summer camp. So luckily there was no one too big, and luckily Miss Joyce kept the secret under wraps. But it was time for SummerSlam, and Triple H says SummerSlam is the second biggest show of the entire WWE year. And he talked about how big moments have happened in SummerSlam, like Bret Hart taking on the British Bulldog, Macho Man, Elizabeth getting married, Dominic Mysterio getting stolen from Eddie Guerrero by Rey Mysterio, Shane McMahon falling to his death, The Undertaker setting people on fire, and we get to Jelly Roll, and Jelly Roll's having a match at SummerSlam. And then Big Ed, of course, one of the writers in there, said, we found out Jelly Roll was going to be hosting the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And what a perfect place to promote their match. And, they show the clips of, Jelly Roll and Logan Paul getting into the fight where Logan Paul goes to the table, which, by the way, I saw this, and my God, I didn't realize Logan Paul looked like he just, hit the floor. Hit just straight floored, bro. That broke easy, bro. I swear if you put, if you just sat on it, the table would just break. Like, that looks how much weight I feel like it would take to break this. And Jelly Roll says he was so nervous before this SummerSlam match. Like, this is the most nervous he's ever been. And he normally gets nervous before going on stage for his concerts and stuff. And that's like a good nervous, but this wasn't like this was like a bad nervous. Like, he couldn't, like, something felt wrong. Like, he was gonna fail or something. Or like the crowd's not gonna like him or something. And they show clips of, Jelly Roll talking to Triple H saying, hey, how do you feel about me, going heels up and stuff? And Triple H is like, well, I have to feel it out. Right now, I'm like 60%, feelings like 60% that you're going to lose the match. But I don't know, we're going to have to talk about later. I have to feel it, you know what I'm saying? I have to feel it, how I feel it out. And then you see, Bobby Roode talking to CM Punk saying, okay, so what we're going to do is all that stuff. And, talking about the finish of his match against Gunther. And, Seth Rollins is going to come out and cash in and win the title. But before then, we had to do the Jelly Roll Randy Orton versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre match. Where, we saw the big splash, Claymore and the frog splash to where the heels won the match. And then we see Jelly Roll after match saying that he is so thankful that Triple H allowed him to come in and trusting him, saying, I'm a 400-pound man, and say I'm gonna lose a bunch of this weight so I can have a wrestling match. And he was just like so thankful that he was able to have a match in WWE. And then we see Paul Heyman over here talking to Seth Rollins, saying, I'm going to come to your truck. We see him come to his bus, knock on the door. And then we see Bobby Roode talking to Crooked Jessica Carr about how the finish of the match. And then we finally get to CM Punk versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then we see CM Punk and Seth Rollins get off Seth's bus and on to a little go-kart, then being driven into by Gorilla. We see the GTS finish. And then we see, Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins in the Gorilla waiting to go out there. And, we're seeing CM Punk holding the belt like he just be so emotional, all that stuff. And then Seth talks. And then, and Seth is like, I was so nervous that the crowd wasn't going to be a bigger pop than the first one. Because, the first one, as soon as his music hit the crowd, it was like, oh, Seth's here, he's going to cash in. And then they saw him come out in the crushes, and he was like, oh, you better hold on until you can, all that stuff. And he was so scared that the crowd was like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. He's going to drop the crutches and all that stuff. But when he dropped the crutches and heard the bigger pop, he was like, oh, yeah, we're in. And then we see Seth Rollins run down to the ring, beat Punk up with the briefcase, cash it in, stomp, 1, 2, 3, new World Heavyweight Champion. And then we see Seth backstage with the championship and, him and Triple H saying how good it is, all that stuff. Then we see CM Punk talk to the camera saying, well, this match reminded me why I fell in love with this sport and why I fell in love with this job. To get where I am today. And then we went back to July 9th, 2025. Georgia. And we see Cody Rhodes doing some yoga, and Cody Rhodes was talking about how after losing the belt to John Cena at WrestleMania 41, he took some time off. And Michael Hayes said that the reason that WrestleMania 40, Cody versus John, didn't feel good, it wasn't great, is because nobody is going to boo John Cena at this point in his career. And Michael Hayes, even though he's a little bit stupid at sometimes, actually not a little bit, mostly stupid at sometimes, he's right. Nobody was going to boo John Cena, especially during this retirement tour, but at this point in his career, John Cena at this point wasn't getting booed for literal years at this point by the time he turned heel. So there would have been no point to turn him heel. Which is why I think The Rock getting involved at Elimination Chamber was stupid. But of course, WWE needed to sell tickets, so hey Dwayne, can you come in? Thank you. So, and it ruined the entire retirement tour. I mean, the heel turn and the heel run weren't bad, but it could have been better. And Michael Hayes was like, Cena felt like he needed to make it up for Cody. And then we had to Stamford, Connecticut, shut up. Then we head over to Stamford, Connecticut, WWE headquarters, and we see Big Ed talking that they didn't know that Cody was going to go away and film a movie for 6 weeks in Australia. And then we see, Triple H talking about how are we going to get John Cena to turn back to a babyface? Do we do something at SummerSlam where, after he loses, he shakes Cody's hand? Or do we, after SummerSlam, or after like a SmackDown, John Cena comes and saves the day or something like that? Which, by the way, turning John Cena face at SummerSlam or like a save-in would have been a way better idea than what actually happened. Because as if you guys don't remember, John Cena turned babyface to SmackDown before SummerSlam. Which even then, I was like, what? Why? I mean, they gave me a good title and thumbnail, but I still didn't understand why did they do it at SmackDown, not just at SummerSlam? Made no sense to me. I mean, I'm glad because it happened, because I got a good title out of it. I was like, the old John Cena's back. But, Triple H, bro, you should have gone with one of your ideas that you pitched out. And then Cody was like, well, after SummerSlam, I was going to go away to Australia for 6 weeks to film a Street Fighter. And then we see John Cena talking to Tyrese Halliburton about, hey, well, I'm going to take your crutch and hit it over Cody's back during the show, or all that stuff. So, yeah. Then we move to Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra Valkyria saying how SummerSlam was going to be her and Becky's big trilogy, her big final end of the feud match. But it didn't really work out. And you see Becky Lynch talking to Michael Hayes about, things that they're going to do. Try and come up with ideas to do with the street fight. And then we see Becky's like, well, sometimes you don't really go to plan. And she was talking about her new theme song, because, they debuted her new theme song in WrestleMania this year. And, she got a little emotional after looking at the seat that her dad sat in at WrestleMania 35, because, the same arena, and, her dad's died, before, like 4 years or something, before SummerSlam of the 2025, so she got a little emotional walking to her entrance and, looking at the seat that her father sat at 6 years prior. So, she was talking to them about, the finish and all that stuff. And then, we hear Lyra getting her hair done, making sure, and she was saying how she was nervous, and she's always nervous before matches, but she's just super, super nervous this time, and she's trying to get into the zone and stuff, putting fires out in her head. And then we get to the actual match, Lyra and Becky, and Lyra said that she already lost this match in her head even before the match started, because she normally gets into a zone where she can live in the moment and stuff to, lock in, basically. And she couldn't, when she was walking down the ramp, she couldn't lock in. She was worried about messing everything up. And it started with, her throwing Becky into a photographer. And then they cut backstage and we see Tyson Kidd laughing. And then they move to obviously the zip ties where they come undone. And she's supposed to go into the ring and, blast Becky with a fire extinguisher. And Tyson Kidd's like, why isn't she using the ring like we talked about? What's happening? And then, she was supposed to put her foot up before getting rammed into the desk, and he's like, okay, she's gonna put her foot up right here before stopping Becky putting her on the desk, and he was like, and then she didn't put her foot up, and she just ran to the desk, and he was like, or not, I don't know what's going on, and we just see Becky do this crazy chair thing, and then he was like, cue Bayley in, and Bayley got her thing in the finish of the match, and after the match. Wrong. We see Tyson Kidd like, oh boy, this match did not go as planned. We see Triple H like, yo, how much over the match went? And Bruce Prichard like, about 10 minutes. He's like, oh boy. They all look depressed back there. And then we see Michael Hayes and Becky Lynch talking. He's like, well, it was a good match. It was a good match. And Becky Lynch was like, not great. Not great. So, yeah. The match did not go to plan. Again, I don't really know why Lyra just couldn't lock in for real, bro. Like, Lyra, you should have just locked in, bro. If you weren't locked in, then you just need to figure a way to get locked in, bro. And look what happened after this match. You were put in the tag team division, and now you're finally doing something almost a year later. You had to be turned like you have schizophrenia. You had to turn where your clothes are all ripped up from the bottom to the top. Like it took them an entire year to turn you into a cuckoo for Coco's mad lady. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. It took them this long to figure out something to do with you after this match. Because they're like, I don't know if we can trust her. And then you see, you see Lyra and Bayley and Becky talking. And you see Bayley give her a hug. And because, but Lyra was just a mess. She even got praise from the GOAT. She got praise from John Cena. John Cena even praised Lyra, saying, I wouldn't even take those spots ever. Also, never mind. And then we just see Lyra after the match talking. She's bawling her eyes out. Like, look at her. She is bawling. She's like, oh, this match was not go this way. But, it happens. Life happens. The match happened. We're not actors. We can't rehearse this stuff before. And, Lyra was not having it, bro. And then it was time for Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the heavyweight champion, the WWE Championship. You see them hug out. And, we got Triple H saying, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you got Triple H here saying that John Cena is doubting himself more than they are. Because John Cena thinks that he can't do it anymore. He can't do the stuff that he used to do it. And Triple H was like, in reality, he can still go the way he always could go. And he's doing stuff that reminds me of the old John Cena, the way he always used to do stuff. Right? And then you see the and Crossroads. And then we see all of a sudden we turn backstage and then we see Triple H like, get everyone out that doesn't need to be back here. We see Brock Lesnar hug Triple H and say, how you doing? How you doing? Waiting for his cue. Bruce Prichard's talking about how, or who is it? I think, actually, it might not be Bruce. It was Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes was like, John Cena suffered one of his most prolific losses at SummerSlam 2014 from Brock Lesnar, where he just ate 16 suplexes and just got basically squashed. And you see him come out, F5 him, and bam. Episode 5 of the finale of Unreal ends. So, I learned a lot in this episode for sure, for sure. But one thing I think we need to understand is is Becky is a bad liar to people she actually cares about. Like she said she can lie to the fans, but she can't lie to herself. She can't lie to the people she likes, right? And then Lyra. Lyra couldn't lock in for her match with Becky at SummerSlam. She literally had trouble locking in to do what she needed to do, and that's why the match didn't end up so as the way they wanted it. But hey, it happens. Life happens. Stuff happens. It's okay. And I think, where is it? Yeah, I think it's somewhere here. The Jelly Roll thing, where Jelly Roll's like saying he, you know, where Jelly Roll is saying that he is so nervous that he's going to hurt someone or accidentally injure someone. Like, he doesn't want to invade someone, like, sport or, like, job and hurt someone. Like, that's not what he wants to do. But he's just so grateful that he got this opportunity. And see, I like this. Jelly Roll took this wrestling stuff seriously, and he's literally had some matches on a SmackDown. So most celebrities would never wrestle on a SmackDown. They would want to wrestle on a PLE where the most eyes are watching. But Jelly Roll would wrestle wherever WWE puts him. He wrestled on a SmackDown. Remember that match? Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson on SmackDown? Remember that? Yeah, I remember that too. That was honestly a low-key solid match. I'm pretty sure Jelly Roll lost. Or he might have won that match. I don't really remember. It was like a couple months. It was like 4 months ago. Or like 5 at this point. But look, I don't really know. But I like Jelly Roll in the WWE. You know, he as long as he had a good story, it's pretty good. And also, just more confirmation that Jelly Roll wanted the loss at SummerSlam. Which, I mean, W for Jelly Roll, man. I'm glad he wanted to lose. I'm very glad. But, that's all I've got for you guys, today. Actually, before we end off, this right here, the cash-in, the ruse of the century, as WWE likes to call it. Now, I might be stupid. And I know a lot of people say that Seth Rollins' fake injury fooled absolutely no one. Everyone knew it was fake. Who is everyone? Who is we? Because I genuinely thought that the Seth Rollins knee injury was low-key real. I thought it was real. After I saw multiple reports saying the Seth Rollins injury is legitimate, and then seeing videos and pictures of Seth Rollins walking down the street with crutches and a knee brace on, and then Becky posting stuff about, Seth Rollins walking down the street with, crutches and a knee brace, it looked 100% legitimate. And now that we got these smart people saying, we all knew, nobody was fooled by it. I was fooled by it. I was fooled by it. Like, WWE fooled me completely about that. And then I felt so dumb when at SummerSlam he dropped the crutches and took the knee brace off. I felt so stupid when that happened. And I was mad about it. Genuinely, I was very mad about it. Because then you open social media and you see, we all knew this. WWE is terrible at faking these storylines. Oh, we all knew it. Who is we? I was not a part of this group. I was not a part of this group, and I for sure, the 100% thought that the Seth Rollins knee injury was 100% real. 100% real. Now, I wonder if season 3, because I haven't watched it yet, I wonder if they're going to talk about or show the part where he busted his shoulder up and to vacate the title and what they're going to do. I know season 3 covers the Royal Rumble and I think maybe WrestleMania 42. Maybe. But we'll have to see. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Have a beautiful rest of the day. See you tomorrow. Bye.